I'm for leaving the game the way it is, and I always want to make it safer and have better practices. And you're always trying to take out some of the things that do create problems. But I think that's a little too far the other way for me, as far as just as a traditionalist of football.
Can you talk about Mike Williams coming back?
He just changes everything. I mean, when number 7's lined up out there, it's a problem. I'm glad he's on our team because it's a problem. I mean, he is. I thought he was the best receiver in the country last year, and to have him back, and not only to have him back, but he's back with, I think, a much better appreciation for his opportunity, his opportunity to play. And he's worked really, really hard. Had a really good spring. I know y'all didn't see him much, but had a good spring. He's had a great summer. He's ready to play, and he's just a matchup problem. And so it's a cat and mouse game, with what do you do with that guy, especially when you got number 4. If you play him one-on-one, then you got your hands full, so. He just creates a problem, for defenses. He really does. And I'm excited to see him get back out there. He looks great, strong. He's a very savvy guy, and I think he's hungry to go and have the type of season, that he was trying to go have last year. So hopefully he can pick right up where he left off with scoring a touchdown, but hopefully get up and keep continuing on for the rest of the year.
Talk about Deon Cain and how he's handled his return to the team and just your thoughts on how he's done.
Yeah, obviously was very disappointed with Deon back during the playoff and all that, and could have played him, didn't have to sit him, but I just felt like that he was a guy that just didn't really understand or appreciate his opportunity, and I don't think he really understood, the magnitude of just some bad decision making and how that affects lots of things. But all you can do is respond a certain way, and he's done a nice job. I kind of laid out a lot of things that were going to be required of him throughout the spring, and he's done so far. He's done a good job. Still got 2 weeks to go. That's what I tell him all the time. I mean, he ain't back yet, but hopefully he'll continue to make the right decisions. He's a guy that's kind of earned some trust back. He doesn't have a lot. He doesn't have any money in the bank. He's got to make some deposits, and you do that through consistency and just being committed. So it's been a quiet summer from that standpoint. He's done what he needs to do in the weight room, so. I anticipate that he'll be good to go, and hopefully he's learned and grown from this overall experience. As I said back in the spring, football is the least of my concerns for Deon. He is a very gifted football player, but I want him to be more than a good gifted football player. I want him to be a great man. I want him to be a great citizen, a great husband, a great father one day. I want him to appreciate the gift that God's given him and not throw it away. I think we got enough examples of that. So, all you can do is try to, pave a good path for him, but he's got to go do it. And so I'm hopeful that he's grown up, he's learned, and that we don't have any more issues from him, and he can, go on and do great things here. And because if he's here, he's going to do great things. But again, he's just got to continue to stay on the right path. Oh yeah, I mean Ben's a natural leader. He's one of those guys that you just can't help but gravitate to. I mean, you hear him coming. He's a loud leader. He's loud by how he plays. He's loud just by how he leads. He's got a great personality. He's funny. He is intense, and he hates to lose. It doesn't matter if it's a drill in practice or whatever. He hates to lose, and he's just one of those guys that's got a chip on his shoulder. you know, you know, one of those guys we have to sometimes kind of channel the right way, but you know, I'm proud of Ben. He's definitely become a great leader for us over his 3 years here.
Not being the biggest or fastest guy, how do you think he gets the most out of himself?
Yeah, well, I think first of all he's faster than people think. I mean, he really runs pretty well. He can move, and but he's just so smart. I mean, he studies the game. He can see it, and he was that way in high school. You just like, how in the world did, you know? And that, like a guy like, and I'm not saying he's Luke Kuechly. I'm just making a point of you see guys like that, and you're like, okay, like how does he make an 18 tackles? How does he, you know? But they play faster than they are because of their anticipation. You know, he's just crafty as far as how he gets off blocks and slithers through gaps. He's if he's on the ground, he's not on the ground long, and he just has a relentlessness to him that you can't coach. I mean, he is just relentless to get his job done. He's relentless to get the football, and it's hard to coach that in guys, and that's just in his DNA. So just his overall knowledge, the heart and passion that he plays the game with, and then he's really talented. I mean, he was born to be a linebacker, and he knows how to play the position, and he's just one of those guys that ain't gonna go away. I mean, he is a long day's work for the opponent because he's gonna keep coming. Hates to come out, hates to sub, and it doesn't matter if it's practice or whatever, and so those are the things that. I think it's just, again, it's those intangibles that you don't see that make him such a great player.
Last year, you had Dodd, who obviously at the beginning of his career was not what he probably wanted it to be, that blew up.
Yep.
And Jay, who 6 months before the season, you didn't even know if he was going to be on the team, and ended up anchoring your offensive line. Is there a couple of guys that you look at as guys who've been around, veterans, that you think are ready to really maybe, I know some of those things can be hard to predict as they were with those guys, but guys that might be ready to take that kind of a step?
Well, I think a guy like Jadar Johnson is a guy that I think is ready to take that next step. Really pleased with the spring Marcus Edmond had. Marcus Edmonds always had good talent, but he wasn't big enough. He wasn't strong enough. He just needed to kind of go through the process of development, which he's been doing. And then I don't think he was maybe necessarily as serious as he needed to be about being a great player. And I think that, his sense of urgency, and he saw his opportunity, and he stepped up and seized it, took advantage of it this spring. So, as far as guys that have kind of been around that maybe you haven't heard as much about, I think Jadar is one of those guys. I would say Marcus is another guy. Ryan Carter, Ryan Carter's played quite a bit for us, but I think he's another guy. Dorian O'Daniel, I think, is poised to really, really. I think Dorian can be a great player. I am a big fan of Dorian O'Daniel. I just love how he plays the game. And he's another guy that I don't think he knew if the ball had feathers or air in it when he got here. He really didn't. But that's not a good mix with him and Brent, because Brent's not very patient, and Dorian's one of those guys that requires a little bit of patience because it just wasn't clicking for him like it needed to be. But I think he's mentally at a place right now where his talent just shows up. I mean, it just shows up. And so I'm really excited about him. And then over on the offensive side, he's not really a guy that's been around here a long time, but I think Jake Frumorgan is a guy that I think is going to step up for us and emerge. But I think the story. I think our backup tight ends. I think those three guys that were freshmen, Garrett and Milan and Cannon. I think those three guys are a really good group that were all freshmen last year and bright-eyed and trying to figure it all out. But I think those three guys become difference makers for us this year. I don't know if they're going to go catch a bunch of passes and score a bunch of touchdowns, but just in doing the things that we need at that position to help us get better. That's what I'm excited about with that group. So those are 3 guys that have been around a little bit, all going to be redshirt sophomores, with the exception of Garrett. He'll be a true sophomore. So that's probably the main guys I would mention.
You talk about the relationship with Brent and Dorian, and that's probably a good example. But there's so much pressure on, especially bigger name recruits, to come in and produce right away. And sometimes when they don't, you end up getting lost in the shuffle. A lot of them move on or whatever. How do you, as coaches, kind of try to lead those guys along so that they do still have a chance of giving you something maybe in year 3, 4, 5?
Yeah, well, I think you just have to do a good job of communicating, and you have to encourage. I think you have to be transparent, tell them the truth. I think at the end of the day, these guys know the truth. I mean, they're at practice. They know if they're ready or not. They can watch the tape. They're in all the meetings, and they know. Sometimes guys have to be a little bit more patient than others based on depth or whatever. And all I know is if we got a bunch of freshmen coming in here and winning jobs every year, then we ain't recruiting very well. I mean, that's all I know. And that's not sexy to say, because it's like if your freshmen don't play, they're no good. And that is the craziest thing I've ever heard of. That mindset has got to change. It's got to change. And so I think that we try to do a great job on the front end of being honest with these guys. And then you're going to earn it. It's like Renfro last year. I mean, we got some 5-star receivers standing on the sideline. I'm trying to tell y'all Renfro can play, and he earned it. So we don't – I mean, it's you get what you earn. It doesn't matter if you're a 2-star or a 5. That crap don't matter. You start over, and you got to go prove it and earn it all over again. There's no entitlement here. But guys that deserve to play, we need to play. I'm really big on that. It's not always equal. It's not okay, everybody plays 50-50. But sometimes a guy, it's 80-20. But that 20, and that's what I stay on the coaches about all the time, that 20% is huge for the development of that player. It's critical. And we have to do a good, I got to do a great job with that in managing the personnel, because that's how you develop guys. That's how you get guys ready. Kendall Joseph didn't play a whole lot early part of the year. He got hurt. But, buddy, he was ready by the end of the year as a redshirt freshman. He was ready, and he was ready at critical moments. And so, it's just making sure that the guys that deserve to play, they get a chance to play. And if it's 50-50, go play. Now all of a sudden, hey, let's let them practice all week, and we'll see who starts based on how you practice. You better show up every day. And not a better situation to be in as a coach in that regard. So, we'll just continue down that path and think it'll all work out.
In the 6 months, almost exactly 6 months since the championship game, obviously a lot of things have happened around you and your program. When you look back on that as you get ready to take the next step forward, what's the best thing that happened, or the best thing you liked about the 6-month period between the game and now? What was maybe something you said, wow, I didn't see that coming, something that was just a little off the wall maybe?
Wow. I don't know. That's a tough question. The best thing? The best thing is today, because I'm still alive. and I get a chance to get back on the football field and go try again. That's probably the best thing. But I just celebrated 22 years of marriage, July 9th. So that was pretty good. But something that I didn't see coming.
Maybe somebody's reaction or some response or something that surprised you a little bit about.
What's that?
The weight room in Coastal Carolina won the national championship.
Oh, that was pretty neat. I was the same way. I was down at the beach, but I was really fired up for those guys too. That was pretty cool to see those guys, and really happy for that coach. Just awesome to see them. They've been just building and building and building, and I'm not sure a lot of those teams even knew where Coastal Carolina was, but they do now. That was pretty neat.
The publicity that Clemson got off of that?
Off of Coastal Carolina?
Yeah. They showed that thing with you guys in the locker room.
Oh. Well, that's the world of social media. I don't know what the biggest craziest thing. I don't know. Maybe meeting some people that I wouldn't think would maybe know who I am or something like that. But they. He did, yeah. I got to meet Joe Girardi and probably spent 20 minutes talking to him and hanging out and talking ball and that was pretty neat. He knew my players' names and was asking me about those guys. I thought that was pretty neat. That because you're kind of just in your own little world here, and you got people like that are paying attention and watching your team and going in and getting a chance to go meet the Cubs and Joe Madden, and had a great meeting with him. Same thing, just kept up with our team and follows us and knew all about our kind of our journey and meeting a lot of those players. And I think John Lester, is that his first name? John. His wife's a Clemson grad, and sitting around the locker room talking to all those guys. I didn't know who all of them were, but was pretty neat. And you forget that, God, they're just young guys. I think the shortstop was like 21 years old or something from Pensacola, Florida. So pretty neat to just been able to meet a lot of people that maybe I wouldn't get a chance to meet. I actually got invited to the ESPYs. That was probably the biggest one I didn't see coming, but didn't make it. That was a haul, and had the opportunity to go to the Yankees game. So, but really neat.
Anything else? Was there any difference going home to Alabama after that game when you took Alabama to the?
Yeah, it was very different because I actually went to Tuscaloosa for about 2.5 days right after our camps. We had a big reunion for Coach Stallings, and that was really pretty special to go spend a couple days being with him and a bunch of my old teams, probably 100 of them, old teammates. We had a great time, had a lot of laughs. I got a chance to speak to the group, and they all love me now. It's we're one big happy family now because we're open up with Auburn, so they're all Clemson fans now. But that was a little surreal. It would have been a lot better because that had been on the books way back before we played the championship. We had planned that reunion, and so my expectation was to kind of go in with my championship ring on, but didn't work out that way. But we'll live to fight another day.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.